Welcome back to Open Line, talking about the Supreme Court and same-sex marriage, ruling expected in June. We are happy to have with us David Fowler, Family Action Council of Tennessee, Chris Sanders, Tennessee Equality Project. A lot of calls, so let's go to Maria. Hello, Maria.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. Let me tell you, I'm Cuban and I'm Catholic. And any church in this country that will emphasize gay marriage to be approved, I'm getting out of that church. Because every sin in this country, or any country, is controlled by God. And because of this new president that we got, God is turning our back on us for a lot of things. So if on top of that, legalizing marijuana and all that other stuff, we're going to legalize gay marriage. Believe me, God is coming.
All right, well, thank you. So here is somebody who's using the religious...
I can give her some word of comfort. Whatever the outcome of the ruling, no church, I believe, will be forced to perform any marriage that its authorities deem inappropriate.
And what do you think, David, of what she said?
Well, I think what Chris was saying is I think if we do have same-sex marriage, and this was brought up in the oral arguments, that ministers will have to stop doing legal marriages if they don't want to do them. As was said, essentially the state deputizes people to marry them. County commissioners, former county commissioners, ministers. But if you have a constitutional right to something, you have to execute the whole of the law that you're under. And I do believe that the minister will have to choose between, do I want to be an agent of the state, for the same reason that adoption agencies went out of business in Massachusetts. They said, we're Catholic, we're not going to do same-sex adoptions. They said, you're an agent of the state, you do them, and they said, we quit.
I think maybe you know better than that. Now, there are ministers right now that can turn away couples who are on their second marriage. There are ministers right now who can turn away couples who are of mixed faith. And they are still acting in person of the state. And I don't think it's going to be any different for same-sex couples. I think ministers will have the continuing option. And you know that our statute is permissive. It says may marry. The county clerk right now doesn't have to marry you. The county clerk has to give an opposite-sex couple a license. But you have to schedule. And the clerk does not have to offer marriages. Just the license. Those are two separate steps. In fact, in Davidson County, you have to schedule, and you may or may not get married by the clerk. No county commissioner can be forced to marry a straight couple right now. The statute in Tennessee is permissive.
So it's already permissive, is what?
Well, yeah, and it is. These people may marry people. I think if you begin down that path to say I will marry, then I think ultimately, I mean, that was part of the oral argument. Is how can you deny somebody their if the clerk said, look, I don't think you ought to be able to marry, I'm not going to issue you a license, then he would get in trouble.
Those are two separate steps, though, in the law, David.
Well, they may be two separate steps, but I mean, where we're headed, if you ask the question, I think that's where we would be headed.
All right, let's go to Philip. Hello, Philip.
Hey, good evening. I'm going to try and not lose my mind. This is a great topic, and thank you for the discussion. And I will openly say, the gentleman on the far right, as I look at my television, I am behind 100%.
That would be you.
I'm going to hit the gentleman to my far left as I look at the television and suggest this. This television station promotes a show and endorses a show called Out and About, all about homosexuality.
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
I've watched the host of that show on channel 4.2, the Crook and Chase show, back when he was a reporter.
Oh, right.
Back in the 80s, 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
All right, now we're talking about what? Yeah, okay. I don't much want to talk about hosts or anything like that.
I do. And
if you want, make your point about this topic.
Well, homosexuality. Okay, you're not going to let me make my point, so I don't know if I'm just maybe wasting my time. Homosexuality is a choice. You or not you want to be a flaming homosexual, we're putting it, homosexuality.
Okay, it's a choice. I get it. We get it. I mean,
well-
this is not the debate that they'll be having in the Supreme
Right.
Court chamber, but he's not going to be the only person that has
The
this
debate
question.
is it's background to the question, and it gets at a question David, brought up earlier. What are the suspect classes currently? What might they be? And how do we determine what a suspect class is? And the gentleman's comments and questions get at whether sexual orientation should be considered a basis for discriminating against someone or not. I can tell you in my own experience, I cannot choose to be attracted to a woman in a sexual way in the same way that I could to a man. And I think most people who are in heterosexual marriages are in the same situation. Some people are attracted to more than one gender, and I think that's deep-seated within them. I don't think that's a choice. Some will come back and argue, well, you choose whether to act on it or not. If by that do you mean, do I choose to have a full life? Yes, if I'm healthy, I probably will choose to have a full life. So, it's a very important question that he raises. I come down on a very different place than he does on the answer, though.
And it is a question that he's not the only one who's going to raise. There are people who
sure.
say it's a choice. There are people who say it's not a choice.
Yeah.
What do you think? There are people out there that are saying both sides. Where do you come down on that?
Well, that I will concede that there are people who have attractions, and you don't ask for them; they are there. I have this. I hope this doesn't offend Chris, but I have an attraction to food. I like food too much. I'm wearing a jacket to cover up my attraction to food,
Right.
and I like food.
Well, obviously, I have more than you do, but anyway.
But there are people who just eat to live. I didn't choose to really like particularly dessert, but I do. But I do believe I do have the free will to choose how I act on the basis of those things, and that I am responsible and accountable for how I act on those preferences. And the question that Chris raised is, I think, a really good one for another show, but what constitutes the full life? Can Chris have a full life if he's not engaged in sexual activity? He would probably say, I guess, no. I would say, I can.
I want the option at least. That's what I'm saying.
But that's another deep philosophical, theological question. But I have urges, and I have to decide whether to act on them all the time, as all of us do.
And we also have to talk about evaluating urges, and I'm not going to reopen the debate, but it's another side of that. Is a sexual urge, an urge to love, or is it something base? And that would be another piece of the debate as well, I think.
All right, let's go to another call here. Let's go to Mary. Hello, Mary.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Fine. What's on your mind?
Well, I do have a problem with homosexuality. I don't judge them because God said He's the ultimate judge. But to allow a man and a woman to be, a woman to marry another woman, or a man to marry another man, I have a problem with that. God didn't put us on earth to be like Sodom and Gomorrah. That's the reason why they burned up. And I'm so afraid that if we continue in the United States to do as Sodom and Gomorrah did, we will burn for it. And it's sad because there's so many innocent people that don't even realize what they're doing. Everybody has the right to their opinion. I'm not judging them. But
You're worried about the path we're headed down.
I'm truly believe that they're sick. They had to have been either abused or something in a younger age. I feel sorry for them. I feel that their souls are lost.
Okay, all right, well, let's... as a theologian, there's some...
There are a variety of points of view, and I'm not going to claim to speak for the full sweep of Christianity or any tradition. I would simply say, you have to be very careful in how you read biblical prophecy, and you have to be even more careful in how you tie it to the contemporary world. We have seen so many people demagogue because of that, use that simply to raise money, to control people. Really, the key thing is to discern in your own heart and your own relationship with the divine. And what is your heart speaking to you? What is the golden rule telling you? And I think those are some of the most important things. When we start getting into biblical prophecy, we're really getting into very speculative things. And to tie that to one issue, whether it be homosexuality or drugs or whatever it is, I think we're really getting far afield to what religion is supposed to be about.
All right, we have to take a break. We'll just take a break, get to more calls, be back right after this.
Response.